Good morning, hello, and today is, well, not today. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough to bring to you. Why am I screwing up so bad today? The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting that we may or may not gather throughout the show, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am A.O. Xander, and today is, what is today? Woden's Day, also known as Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. I am not prepared at all, even though I've had all morning. Anyway, starting us off in the year of 1214, during the First Battle of Bouvines, King Philip II of France was versus the Holy Roman Emperor Otto IV and King John of England. As a result, John lost Normandy and his other possessions in France, hence its nickname John Lackland. Interesting. He got a nickname for losing land. And yeah, so for a while, there's portions of mainland France that was owned by Britain, so that's interesting. Then in 1377, the first example of quarantine occurred in Ragusa, which is now Dubrovnik. The city council passed a law saying newcomers from plague areas must isolate for 30 days, which was later extended to 40 days, according to quarantena in Italian, which is where the quarantine word comes from. So, then jumping on up into the year 1501, Nicholas Copernicus formally installed as a canon of Frauenburg Cathedral. So they installed this guy as an artillery emplacement? That's kind of weird, but okay. 1586, Walter Raleigh brought the first tobacco to England from Virginia. Ooh, dang, that must have, yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, that's right, tobacco, sugar, coffee, cocaine, like all these things is an America-only crop. So they're that's why we had all the colonies over there for all the sugar, all the hemp, all the stuff that they can't grow and that's not native to Europe and other areas that they've been to and conquered. Anyway, 1641, Prince Frederick Henry captured Castle of Genappe. All right. Why does he look like such a soft man? He looks like a real life version of the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like you squish his face in. 2 years later, 1643, Oliver Cromwell defeated royalists at the Battle of Gainsborough. And it looks like his collar is armored. That's interesting. Moving on up into 1714, British Queen Anne was dismissed, she dismissed Premier Robert Haley. I thought she was a ship, or maybe the ship is named after her. But then again, the ship is from Pokemon, the Queen Anne, In 1794, Maximilien Robespierre was overthrown in a coup in Paris. Ah, yeah, that's right. He was the guy who guillotined all the people, and then later he was guillotined himself. 1830, revolution broke out in Paris, opposing the law of Charles X. Dang, that didn't take long. 36 years? Then in 1861, Union General George McClellan took command from McDowell of Potomac Army. 1866, the first transatlantic telegraph cable came ashore at Heart's Content, Newfoundland, after being laid out 1,686 miles by Isambard Kingdom Brunel's Great Eastern Steamship. That's interesting. So they're just, going along and just dropping cable, It's not like they're going underwater and affixing them and all that stuff today. But literally, you just, like you would, with a piece of thread, just putting it over your bed or something. That's how they laid cable. Just, whoop, there it is. 1890, Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh shot himself in Avers-sur-Oise, died of injuries 2 days later. Aw, man. So he killed himself that way. I thought he killed himself. I didn't know that he shot himself. That's a tragedy. 1909, Orville Wright tests the first U.S. Army airplane, flying it for 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds. Well, that's interesting. In 1921, Frederick Banting and Charles Best isolated insulin at the University of Toronto. So, insulin. Oh yeah, that's not penicillin. Insulin. That's for diabetes. Whereas those from the internet would call it the beatus. 1947, New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra started a record 148-game errorless streak. Dang. That's remarkable. 148 errorless? I didn't even know that's possible. 365 days later, in 1948, Bradman's 29th and last Test cricket century, part of winning 3 to 404. I don't know anything about cricket. I've been reporting on it, but I have not learned one single thing other than the whole thing is just kind of weird. Oh, look at this. We have a special guest today. Introduce yourself.
I don't know if special's the right word, but...
special in a way.
I'm Meat Cleaver.
Yes, and our screen is working today.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah. 1953, North Korea and the United Nations signed an armistice to stop fighting and divide Korea at the 38th parallel.
Read that again for me one more time.
1953, North Korea and the United Nations signed an armistice to stop fighting and divide Korea at the 38th parallel.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Now, I just happened to hear something on Yogi Berra.
Yes.
Someday you'll have to look up what yogiisms are.
Why not tell me?
Well, they're weird things that he would say. I can't remember any right offhand, but they're funny as hell. Different things he would say that are just, obvious. I can't think of anything, so it doesn't make sense. So
a baseball is spherical.
Yeah, something like that.
1960, U.S. Vice President Richard Nixon was nominated for presidential candidate at the Republican Convention in Chicago.
I'm not a crook.
You gotta relax, your cheeks, and then gotta get those jowls moving,
And they make me mad. They go to the Nixon Library. They mandate a mask.
Yeah. We tried to go up on Sunday to the Nixon Library Museum, which is just down the street. There's no mask mandates in California, but for reasons I probably don't have to even explain, all the private companies, they're all owned and operated by these leftist, nincompoops, and they enforce masks. The government doesn't need to enforce anything if they already have everybody doing what they want. They already have their people in power. 1962, Martin Luther King Jr. was jailed in Albany, Georgia.
Hey, that's one of my heroes.
Yep. 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed a bill requiring cigarette makers to print health warnings on all cigarette packages about the effects of smoking. All right?
I remember that.
So let me get this straight. You suck on a stick full of stuff that makes you cough and spew out things that's not normal and...
puts tar in your lungs.
Yeah. And you don't realize that, it's bad for you? No, people realize that. This is just all crap. Cigarette warnings.
They started off with saying the Surgeon General... Yeah, says smoking may be hazardous to your health. And then they changed it to is hazardous to your health. Hello.
Well, this is my response to them. Take that, anti-smokers.
And your health is crap, so there you go. Proves his
point. Does anybody want to live forever in today's world anyway? I'm just speeding up the process to end the suffering.
Great.
1969 LPGA Championship Women's Golf at Concord Golf Club. Betsy Rawls won her second LPGA Championship, 4 strokes ahead of runners-up Carol Mann and Susie Maxwell Burning. Which, did you actually ever introduce yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Meat Cleaver.
Okay.
In the flesh.
1977, John Lennon was granted a green card for permanent residence in the U.S. That's right. He was a Briton.
Yeah.
He was a Brit.
Yeah. I thought he had trouble with that because he got arrested for possession of weed or something.
Maybe. Maybe that's why this is a
note
of note and highlighted because of the path it needed to take to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know. 1978, Portuguese President Antonio Ramalho Inês fired Premier Mario Soares. Okay, Portugal. All right. 1982, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman's musical Little Shop of Horrors opened off-Broadway at the Orpheum Theater in New York City. Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour.
Did they make a movie of that finally or something? I don't remember.
Are you serious?
They made a movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, with that little Weasley guy who was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, that
and
guy.
The Ghostbusters, the accountant guy. Yeah, he was Seymour.
Oh, okay.
Feed me, Seymour. 1982 as well. Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's first visit to the U.S. in almost 11 years. Dang. You know, I know she's a good person, but like, she looks like, you know, she has the Bride of Frankenstein hair, just not up yet.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to knock on her, but like, you know, like everything about this is kind of horrifying. I mean, that smile, those eyes, like, you know, like, am I wrong? Does that not look like a demon to you? Like,
no, she looks like a demon to me. Yeah. I see where you're going with it. But
it's
see that.
She has that creeper look, like.
Dear Gandhi, come on.
I know, but like, you know, I'm not knocking her, but that's not a good picture.
No, not the best.
1 year later, 1983, Gaylord Perry joins Nolan Ryan and Steve Carlton to reach 3,500 career strikeouts, also winning his first game as a Kansas City Royal. See, here we go, a hat and a poof again. Now, this is something. Why did they blur out that logo?
I don't know.
And I've looked on Google, and this is just a stock image. It's on Google. I don't know what that logo is. But, like, it can't be the Cubs, because I'm thinking, okay, would it be the Cubs, you know, copyright infringement? No, right there.
No.
You know? So, but what's going... This is the only picture I've seen. I've seen this picture multiple times. The only one I've seen with a blurred logo on the hat. Everybody else is fine.
They don't have the rights to use it, or it's... I don't know.
Well, no. If I go to Google, you know, and I look for this guy, I get this exact same picture on Google. This is not...
I got what you're saying. Yeah. I want to know if he got teased like crazy as a kid being named Gaylord.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That answers that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least his name isn't Richard Head.
Yeah.
1984, Reds' Pete Rose collected record 3,500 third career single versus Philadelphia specifically. All right.
Yep.
1986, Canadian Open Women's Golf at Du Maurier Classic. The Board of Trade Country Club, Pat Bradley, won in a playoff with Ayoko Okamoto of Japan. I have, It's All a Lie. She's got the demonic eyes. Yes, she does have the demonic eyes. I have commenters.
Oh.
They're a live show. 1988, baseball star Tommy John committed a record 3 errors on one play as Yanks rout Brewers 16-3.
He's got a surgery named after him. Tommy John surgery. They tried it on him and it worked. So they took a tendon from another part of the body and put it in his elbow.
So I guess you could say
it's called Tommy John surgery.
I guess you could say he really stuck his neck out. Look at that neck. The man's a giraffe, dude. Look at that thing. 1990, Graham Gooch, speaking of people getting made fun of, the Gooch, scored 3-3-3 versus India at Lord's. Now this guy, he kind of has that, you know, face from that other guy, remember?
Yeah.
What is that a candid shot? Like, did he prepare to that? Take a picture of me. Like,
George Steinbrenner with that. I'm not dead.
What? I'm dead? 1990, Zaza Gabor began a 3-day jail sentence for slapping a police officer in Beverly Hills. Yeah, that's assault. So, yeah. That's assault of an officer, which is like even more of a charge.
That's nothing.
Well, yeah.
Now they're shooting him.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, 1992, Nelson Mandela said a general strike will go ahead to protest for the removal of South African President F.W. de Klerk from power and for free elections. Good. Nelson Mandela. You know, like I was watching something about him on TV the other day, and it's amazing, like what that guy went through. You know, like being somebody who suffered the bad end of the stick of apartheid, becoming in prison, and then eventually becoming elected as the leader of the very nation that put him through that shit. You know.
Minimum wage was born down there. You know why?
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. To keep the blacks out of the workforce because they were so poor they had worked for virtually nothing.
And now minimum wage is all over the place to keep everybody out of the workforce.
It's a big negative deal.
Yeah, well, it still is a negative deal. I mean, like, you know, minimum wage is not a living wage, but minimum wage seems to be the only wage nowadays. Isn't that a little weird? You know? 1997, British Senior Open Men's Golf at the Royal Portsmouth Golf Club. Gary Player of South Africa won with a birdie on second playoff hole against countryman John Bland. Well, we have Player versus Bland. Who do you think is going to win? The guy named Player. He's a player. This other guy is just bland. He's like Melba Toast, you know? It's a toast family.
They're toast.
They're toast. 1999, Tony Hawk is the first skateboarder to land a 900. Yeah, I remember that. That was a big deal.
I can't remember what a 900 is, but I sure remember Tony Hawk.
So, like, you know, like when you go up and you do a 360, you do like a full rotation.
Yeah.
Whatever 900 is, he's in the air and he does that many rotations before landing.
360, 703. 3 rotations.
So he got up, did 3 full entire circular rotations before. Can you imagine the momentum and everything you have to?
Or probably 2.5, maybe.
You know what? We have the technology.
2.5.
900 divided by 360 equals. You're right, 2.5.
Yeah.
So 2.5 times in the air. Now people can just do that.
So they came down backwards.
Yes.
At the half.
Well, on the skateboard you just pivot.
Yeah.
So I guess he just changed his stance from normal to what's the other stance?
Surfing we call it goofy foot.
Goofy. That's correct. On skateboard there's normal and there's goofy.
Okay.
So he either went up normal and came down goofy, or the other way around.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like everybody? You start off normal, you end up goofy. 2003, 90th Tour de France was no winner. Lance Armstrong disqualified. Get off of him! Leave him alone! Leave Lance Armstrong alone right now!
In other words, he won, but they've erased him.
Yeah, well, no winner. They erased everybody because but see.
Well, they have him up there, so they're obviously recognizing that he accomplished something that they won't talk about.
But see, here's the thing. This is the third time, maybe more, that they've said Lance Armstrong disqualified, but they don't mention all the other people who caused a no-winner situation. Yeah. Leave Lance alone. Fuck. Also in 2003, a group of 321 Filipino armed soldiers called Magdalo took over Oakwood Premier Ayala Center in Makati City to show Filipino people the alleged corruption of the Gloria Macapagal Arroyo administration.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. And I just see she has shoulder poofs. She has a...
You got poofs going on the
Yeah. Well, you know, there's poofs here, poofs there.
Poof there, poof everywhere.
Isn't poof English slang for gay? You know? Like, oh, he's a poof. A poofter. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it used to be. I don't think it's used anymore, but yeah.
Well, you want to know something strange?
What?
Now, I don't blame you for not knowing this because, you know, you are a Canadian, but you spent... No, this is a Canadian term.
Oh.
But, like, you spent most of your time out here, so you wouldn't know. But, I think it's the word goof is Canadian slang for pedophile.
Oh, no, I
so
didn't know that.
if you call somebody a goof, because I didn't know this, and I have a friend in my server, I have multiple friends, you know, who's up in Canadian land. But I one time I called her a goof, and she's like, "Oh no, you don't want to call me that." I'm like, "What? You're silly." She's like, "Oh well, goof means pedophile." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
Like, where? Canada? Okay, you know.
Well, goof here means that you're goofy.
Yeah.
You know, you're just out of step.
Well,
with the norm.
Well, wouldn't that be a pedophile?
Well, that's
they are really out of step, you know.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't make these words. I'm just, you know, transmitting information I've learned. Anyway, 2003, during the British Senior Open Men's Golf at Trunbury, U.S. Tom Watson won in a playoff with Carl Mason of England.
Wow, he had to be kind of old by then. He's getting up there in age.
Tom Watson was born in 1949, so 51, 54. That's not that old for a golfer. That's actually about on par with the age, pun intended.
Oh man.
And plus, when you're old, aren't you just looking for every hole to fill?
What does that mean?
What do you think it means?
I don't. I was hoping you were going somewhere else.
Well, you're running out of time. You want to get laid, you know?
Yeah.
2012, Queen Elizabeth II opened the 30th Olympics in London, the United Kingdom, with some help from 007. Oh, James Bond. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. 2014, Obunga reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself, but condemned civilian casualties in Gaza. Israel's not defending themselves. They're attacking. constantly. You know.
Not really.
Well, they're adopting the patent. They're adopting the patent form of defending themselves. A good defense is a better offense. I mean, they're the ones always with fire.
Who are they attacking?
Gaza. They're just gunning down civilians in Gaza just because they're there. Because they want the land. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That is just not true.
It's true.
I can't let that stand.
Look it up. Look it up. No. I'm not here to have you believe me. Look it up. Don't believe what the news media is telling you. In 2017, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, boo Bezos, boo, boo, and Bill Gates, boo them both, briefly became the world's richest man at 91.4 billion US dollars, overtaking Bill Gates for half a day.
91 billion. 91 billion.
Jeez. See, here's where you and I differ. Like, at some point, you gotta stop making money. Like at some point it's got to go back. Like, I'm not trying to become a socialist or anything, but at 91 billion, you don't need 91 billion dollars. What are you doing with 91 billion dollars?
Well, what's scary is what
they're
they
doing
can do
it with.
91 billion dollars.
Yeah.
That's what's scary.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the wealthy never used to leverage their money like they're leveraging today. And it is scary.
yeah. Anyway, moving on up into 2017, just 5 years ago, Boy Scouts of U.S. Chief Scout Executive Michael Serbach issued an apology for politically motivated remarks made by President Donald Trump at a rally attended by 30,000 scouts. Wow, so I think I remember hearing something about that. The whole Boy Scout thing. Somebody said something politically motivated, right here.
Yeah.
So it was a Chief Scout. I don't know what he said. Actually, what did he say? Open up Google. What did Chief say? Trump's speech. He apologized at Trump's speech, or after Trump's speech. Political rhetoric that was inserted into the jamboree that was never our intent. What did he say? Well, it's not going to tell me.
What was the Boy Scouts hammered for at one point? I've forgotten now.
Excluding the gays.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they fired somebody who came out as gay or something. But it's like, think about it. The Boy Scout, they don't want people coming out as gay. You have all these adult males going out into secluded areas for long periods of time with a bunch of underage minors. What do you think is going on? Come on. 2018, U.S.
What are they called? Supervisors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then as soon as somebody outs themselves as gay, they get rid of them because, oh no, to get rid of them, cover us up. So, 2018, U.S. singer-songwriter Neil Diamond gave a small thank you concert to firefighters near his home in Colorado. Yeah. Neil Diamond, isn't that the male Karen? Is that the guy who complained on Spotify? Oh, you better take Joe Rogan down, otherwise I'm going to stop posting here.
That's Neil Young.
Neil Young, okay. Getting my Neils confused.
Yeah.
So.
The real deal, Neil.
Yep. 2020, just 2 years ago, U.S. Congressman John Lewis became the first black lawmaker to lie in states in the Rotunda in Washington, D.C. Dang.
I wonder what he did to...
Yesterday... you weren't here yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Yesterday, after he was dead, they took his body over this one bridge or something that apparently he had been beaten on, very much like Rodney King.
Oh, yeah.
He had been the victim of police brutality. So, but this was the first black guy to be laid in that rotunda.
Oh, okay. So that's just for...
Yeah. Respect.
Okay.
Because he's a lawmaker and everything, and he was I don't know actually what happened to John Lewis. What's happened to John Lewis? As a result of his Freedom Rider activities, Lewis was in prison for 40 days in the notorious Mississippi State Penitentiary in Sunflower County. So, let's see, is John Lewis dead? What struggles did John Lewis face? 1961, John Lewis volunteered to participate in the Freedom Riots, which were organized to challenge segregation at interstate bus terminals across the South. Lewis risked his life and was beaten severely by mobs for participating in the riots.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, you were dead on that.
Well, it was mentioned in the article from yesterday, so that's how I know.
Okay. Anyways, out of respect, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
It's a little alarming that this just happened 2 years ago, that we're breaking that, record. But hey, better late than never,
Well, it's not necessarily a black person, it's a congressman.
Yeah.
Has never been in
it just so happens to be black, so...
Yeah, well, out of respect for what he did for society and everything like that, I like it. Okay, it's warranted.
Also, in 2020, the World Health Organization head Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, God, this guy looks like a fucking monster. I just want to punch that face right there. State that COVID-19 is easily the most severe global health emergency the WHO has faced. Bullshit. Up yours, tag.
WHO, boy.
Yeah.
We lost the trust of the people.
Well, I've lost all trust of every governing body. Period. 2021, U.S. gymnast and four-time Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles withdrew from the women's team final at the Tokyo Games, citing a need to focus on her mental health. Also missed individual finals. I remember that. Yeah, she was going, oh, my mental health. Oh, the patriarchy.
Yeah.
She's just trying to push her agenda. Before we move on into births and deaths, were there any articles that grabbed your attention?
I don't know. You fill it in. I missed the first portion, so...
Well, this was interesting. 1377, the first example of quarantine in Ragusa, which is now Dubrovnik. The city council passed a law saying newcomers from plague areas must isolate for 30 days, which was later extended for 40 days with the quarantina in Italian, which is where quarantine comes from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's, the concept that you can spread it from person to person. Okay, isolate them.
Yeah. And actually, I think that was during the bubonic plague, 1377. I don't know. Let's see here. Is there any other interesting ones? Maximilien Robespierre. He was overthrown in a coup in Paris. This is the guy who was guillotining everybody.
Oh.
Like Robespierre, he was like, oh, guillotine this, guillotine that, guillotine, and then he got guillotined. And this is like what this is leading up to it. So he got overthrown during a coup because he guillotined everybody above him, and then he became head of state. And then somebody didn't like him, so then they guillotined him. That's what goes around comes around, Robespierre.
Where's that military guy?
1861, Union General George McClellan took command for McDowell of the Potomac Army. Whatever. But here's an interesting one. 1866, the first transatlantic telegraph cable came ashore at Heart's Content, Newfoundland, after having been laid out 1,686 miles by Isambard Kingdom Brunel's Great Eastern Steamship. And they did not have diving stuff back then, so they literally just took the cable, put it on a boat, and just went. And where it fell, it fell. Isn't that
work?
Yeah, well, you insulated enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Vincent van Gogh shot himself and then died 2 days later of his injuries.
I didn't know he killed himself.
I did, but I didn't know it was with a gun. So.
Didn't know he committed suicide.
Well, the signs are there. He cut off his ear.
Yeah.
He's losing parts. Anyway, before we recap what we just went over, let's go on into bursts. Starting us off in the year of 1452, we have Ludovico Sforza, or Il Moro, was an Italian Duke of Milan from 1494 through 1508, who commissioned The Last Supper, born in Vigevano, modern-day Lombardy in Italy, dying in 1508. So this is the guy who commissioned The Last Supper.
Yeah.
The famous painting. You're a little bit in frame right here. So.
You still?
No, you were. That's why I pushed you.
Yeah.
Because I know you don't want to be on camera.
Yeah. I'll break it.
Yeah, you would. And you'll probably cost me all my viewers, It's just it's a tragedy over here, guys, 1881, Hans Fischer was born on this date. He was a German organic chemist. He was born in Hoest, Germany, dying in 1945. Then we have Leo Droscher, born on this date in 1906. He was a U.S. Baseball Hall of Fame shortstop, MLB All-Star 1936, 38, and 40, World Series 1928, 30, and 34. For the New York Yankees, St. Louis Cardinals, and two other teams. He was also a manager for the World Series of 1954 for the New York Giants specifically, and he was a coach during the World Series 1963 for the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leo Durocher, yeah.
Born in West Springfield, Massachusetts, dying in 1991. Yeah, that is a legendary resume right there.
Yeah.
Dang. Who else was born on this date? Come on, give me something. Why am I scrolling so long? We have Maureen McGovern, born in 1949. She was a U.S. Academy Award-winning pop singer the morning after. Born in Youngstown, Ohio. Ohio!
I've never heard of her.
Yeah. I haven't heard of this guy either. Alan Border, 1955, an Australian cricket batsman. Well, that explains things. 156 tests, 93 as captain, 11,174 runs at 50.56, semicolon, 26 times 100s, TS 205, 273 ODIs, born in Sydney, Australia. Dude, honestly, reading, and I'm not even joking, like, I am starting to, honest to God, like, there's pain developing up here. So I think, like, reading all this is actually giving me an aneurysm. So, Christopher Dean, born in 1958. He is an English ice dancer for Toivel and Dean. Got the Olympic gold in 1984. Born in Claverton, Nottinghamshire, England. Then we have Triple H, 1969. Actual name is Paul Michael Levinsky. He is a U.S. pro wrestler, 14-time world champion, D Generation X stable. Born in Nashua, New Hampshire. Joshua Nashua. Alex Rodriguez, born on this date in 1975. He is a U.S. Major League Baseball shortstop, 14-time All-Star, born in New York City, New York.
Yep.
That hair is way too short, though. He has to let it grow. I mean, like, you know,
well,
his head shape is not good.
You'll never get a poof out of that.
No. We have Jordan Spieth in 1993, a U.S. golfer, U.S. Masters, U.S. Open 2015, and British Open 2017, born in Dallas, Texas. Dang. 6 years younger than me, and he's, you know, already...
Yeah. All kinds of stuff.
Yep. Moving on up into deaths. Who do we lose today or this date in history? 1844, John Dalton was an English physicist and chemist who developed the atomic theory of matter and researched color blindness, dying at the age of 77. Well, that's interesting. Atomic theory of matter and color blindness.
Yeah.
And they misspelled color, though. They're supposed to, you know, get rid of the U, so color. Like stupid British spelling. And we, 1970, Antonio de Oliveira Salazar died on this date. He was the dictator of Portugal from 1932 through 68, who founded and controlled the Estado Novo, new state, died from a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 81.
Another dictator.
Yeah, 1970, died, yeah, today, oh yeah. I was just wondering if he died in office or if he got, like, killed or something.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Well, 1980, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Well, we might actually be experiencing something like that here soon.
What's that?
An elected official dying in office who recently has gotten COVID and is not showing really good signs.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope so.
No.
Well, 1980, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was the last Shah of Iran, Persia at the time, from 1941 through 79. Died in Cairo of splenomegaly at the age of 60.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I didn't know his name. I just knew him as the Shah of Iran.
It is a condition that occurs when your spleen becomes enlarged. It is also commonly referred to as an enlarged spleen or spleen enlargement. The spleen is a part of your lymphatic system. It helps the immune system by storing white blood cells and helping in the creation of antibodies. Antibodies. Huh.
Yeah. The government they have today want to overthrow them.
1 year later, 1981, William Wyler died on this date. He was a U.S. film director. Ben-Hur and Mrs. Miniver died at 79. I've heard of Ben-Hur.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Big.
Bob Hope. Oh, man.
Yeah.
2003. Actual name, Leslie Towns Hope. Leslie. Wow. English-born U.S. actor, comedian, and entertainer, died at the age of 100. And he was the USO guy.
Yeah.
Forever.
Oh, yeah. Did all kinds of movies. And, yeah. Big star.
That reminds me of that scene from The Money Pit. Like, you know, when that guy was talking to Tom Hanks about his father going nuts watching Bob Hope. or something.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
That's when he had him distracted, and then the guy moved the board to move the wheelbarrow, and then his wife or something like unplugged something, and then that led to that whole thing where like
plug something in, the power saw cut the boards,
and then it led to this Rube Goldberg of human agony that he eventually ended up in a fountain covered in drape and plaster getting peed on. Yeah, the entire scaffolding went down. It was nuts. Anyway, that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links that you may be interested in, which also includes everything, but not limited to, the Omni Coalition. For your dose of past events daily, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific time. For all of you and all of us, I am Mayo Xander.
I'm Meat Cleaver.
And you are you. And until you catch us tomorrow, do not forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles. Let's go, Brandon.